when it comes to the Houthi, Iran, and the Middle East, basically, we can see that we hear exactly the same fallacies that we had during the Biden administration, and even before, in fact. You know, first of all, when we talk about the Houthis, they are not the proxies of Iran. They are not applying the policy of Iran. They have their own policy. We can debate on that, whether it's good or bad, but it's their own policy. They have good relations with Iran, obviously, but they are not implementing the foreign policy of Iran. So they are not proxies in that sense. You know, Ukraine was used as a proxy by the US and partly by the Europeans to fight against Russia. Ukraine was used literally or even misused by the West against Russia. It's not the case in the Houthi. The Houthis have an independent policy. They are in good relation with Iran, but it's not their own policy. That's the first thing. Second thing is that what the Houthis are doing, and it's very interesting to see that nobody wants to acknowledge that. In fact, the Houthis are applying exactly the same kind of policy the West is applying to other countries in the world. In fact, they are applying sanctions. And they are, in fact, sanctioning Israel. Not the whole of the maritime traffic or shipping across the Red Sea. Just the traffic that is related to Israel, because it's a sanction on Israel. The Houthis have said, if you don't follow the path, then we'll resume our missile strikes, because the purpose is to enforce the ceasefire. In fact, what the Houthis are doing, it's implementing, in their way, the responsibility to protect. In reality, they are implementing this principle, which is a UN principle that has 3 pillars. The first one is that every country should be responsible for the security of its own population, or the population under its control, which is the case for Israel, for instance. It has the responsibility to protect the Palestinians. It's an obligation, and they obviously do not do that. So this first pillar is not respected by Israel. The second pillar of the responsibility to protect is that the international community should help or encourage or provide support to, in that case, Israel, to protect the population by helping them to solve the situation in the occupied territories and things like this. Meaning that the resolutions that have been adopted by the General Assembly should be enforced by the international community in order to make Israel to comply with its own responsibility to protect. This is the second pillar, and obviously the international community doesn't want to do it. The third pillar of the responsibility to protect is the intervention from outside by another country, and that's exactly what the Houthis are doing.